So, if you haven't heard the news already, Bill Cosby has been sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, which basically means that that is the end of Bill Cosby. He's 81 years old, he's in frail health, he's blind, and if he were to get out in 3 years, he'd be 83, 81, 82, 83, 84, so 84. And if he were to get out in 10 years, he'd be like 90 something. So it's pretty much over. And even if he does manage to survive jail, there's not going to be much left for him to do in this life. His career is done. It's over for him. He is done, and he did it to himself. And I think one of the biggest lessons that people could take from all this is that, I mean, if you're going to throw rocks, just make sure that your house ain't made of glass. Because Bill Cosby was one of those people, one of those old, patronizing black people who think they know everything. And I'm not saying I disagree with some of the stuff that Bill Cosby said. I mean, he used to give young black people a good dressing down. Young black people do this, they do that, they're not good enough, blah, 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 blah. Stop naming your children Jamar and Lakeisha and yada, yada, yada. I mean, he every second, this guy would just run down young black people. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing, because we have to face the fact that black people, especially young black people, have a big problem in life, and somebody needs to address it, and somebody needs to be tough on us so that we know what's going on. With that being said, you hear on the news a lot of times that black people may steal, black people may kill, black people may fight, black people may take drugs, but it's very rare to hear of a black person, a young black person from the Bronx or from South Central Los Angeles or from Atlanta or from Detroit. It's very rare to hear that they drug a woman and rape them. And not just one woman, about 50 different women. And even if they do something like that, when they're in the courtroom, they're crying and they're sobbing, and oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Oh, I'm so sorry, have mercy on me, Judge. Mama, I miss you, Mama. I don't want to go to jail, Mama. I'll go to church. I'll go turn my life around. I'll go turn my life around. I'll go give my life to Jesus. I'm giving my life to the Lord. Praise Jesus. I'm going to go to 43rd Baptist Church tomorrow if you let me go. I'm going to go to 43rd Baptist if you let me go. Bill Cosby did none of that. In the courtroom, when they were sentencing him, when he went into the courtroom, he was almost smiling. And then when he's in the courtroom, the nigga is just sitting there stone-faced. He didn't even want to speak on his own behalf. To accept remorse or to say he was sorry. And I do believe he did all that stuff. I'm sure I do. This man's a sociopath. He's dangerous. I'd have given him life. You must be out of your dang mind. I mean, this guy spent the latter years of his life running down young people, running down black people, and this fool, meanwhile, is giving quaaludes to women, making them insensible and raping them. I mean, what kind of person does that? You could think of some of the worst criminals on the street, and they would actually kill you if you did something like that, because it's bad even for them. And now they have to put this dude in isolation. Because if there's one thing that the average criminal hates, is a rapist or a child molester. You do something like that, the police will have to put you in. They're not even going to ask you if you want to go in SEG. You're going to SEG, not because of the prisoners, but for your sake. They're looking out for you. So the next time you say that police officers and law enforcement are such bad people, just keep in mind that when they see somebody who's accused of rape or child molestation, they're even something as terrible as that. I mean, heck, I'd have thrown them into the lion's den. The average law enforcement officer will put you in SEG to protect you. And that's where Bill Cosby's going, because he'd be destroyed by the average criminal, black or white. They'd rip him up in his old age. And that's where he's going. Bill Cosby's a creep. Bill Cosby's dangerous. And that's the end of his career. But in one sense, it is kind of disappointing, because here we have another black person who reaches a certain height in America, and just like O.J. Simpson, they come crashing down because they think that they are so big and they are so mighty and so powerful, and I'm at the point now where I can do whatever I want and nobody's going to punish me, and there you go. And that's a problem. That's a problem that I think minorities in America have to understand. I mean, I understand you're not used to having so much monies. You're not used to having such a big house. You're not used to having such a nice car. You're not used to having such power. But for God's sakes, if you do get it, control yourself. Control your nappy-headed self. Because the higher you fly, the harder you come crashing down. Look at Bill Cosby. Look at O.J. Simpson. Those guys are done. In fact, Bill Cosby's probably in a worse situation now, because at least O.J. is out of jail. That's it. That's it. This is the Nation.